was younger, you knew me better, but now I'm old and gray. I often wonder about your lovers and why they went away so easily distracted, seldomly in love. I don't know if I wanna move slower, 'cause I've learned, and because I'm getting older. The devil spoke, so I leaned a little closer. Finding truth is like fighting heavy shoulders. It's like fighting heavy You beg for chances, long walks and glances. My darling, I can't relate. Believe the liars, follow the crowd, and regret while we lay. So easily distracted, seldomly in love. I don't know if I wanna move slower, 'cause I've learned, and because I'm getting older. The devil spoke, so I leaned a little closer. Finding truth is like fighting heavy shoulders. It's like fighting heavy
through the table.
Oh.
I'm going to keep the same sort of speed. Over the branch, lower and take a right. Okay, I'm going to go right again here. Can you see me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to take a left. Another left.
Oh. It's rushing to catch up with you. I didn't see the branch.
Oh. Wow. I think I'm genuinely having some range issues on this.
Have you thrown it back there before?
Yeah man, it's good control glitches. Yeah, loads of control glitches.
Is it a range thing or what?
Okay, I'm getting quite a lot of little range glitches on this. It certainly feels like loss of control and then regaining it, but I'm only flying around there, and I've kind of flown around there already, and it's kind of alright, but there's a couple of spots around there it was a bit shaky as well. So, I'm not massively impressed by the range so far. Now, if I put a battery in that can't deliver the current, then it's also going to drop out of the sky. But, I've got relatively plenty of power. There's no way I could recover out of that if I was low on power, so I think I've got a really short range on this. It plays really nice in rate mode. No. Come on. No. Now I've just been flying this around here, and it did pretty well, to be honest. Once I'd got rid of the stock props, which were just full of vibrations, it wouldn't actually fly well in angle mode at all, just veered off to the side. But once I put these on, which I bought for X58 recently, it flies pretty nice in angle mode. There's still some vibrations, but most of those are related to the movement in the motors. Two of these motors have got a fair old bit of slop. A lot more than I would expect on a large motor. But it does fly pretty nice in rate mode now as well. Stock batteries are 450 mAh, and I've been flying FPE on 300s, and it's pretty perky. I'm just going to give this a bit of line of sight around here because I was getting range issues. I had a couple of glitches over there lower down, and then I had a couple of glitches over there, and then the last little bit when I was just flying rate mode, I got several little glitches around that bit. Now, I'd already just flown around there a couple of times, so I'm not really sure what changed, but the aerial's sticking up out of the back, so unless it gets shielded behind the entire quad, possibly, I'm not really sure. But we'll give it a line of sight and see what kind of power to weight ratio we've got with a stock battery. So there's my default PID so far with this one. Angle mode, that's full pitch. Pretty decent. Enough for any angle mode. And I did set up horizon mode on it, but I don't like using horizon mode, so we'll go straight into rate mode. thing flies a lot better in rate mode than it does in angle mode, but that's definitely just to do with vibrations. And the unbalanced stock props from this one I put on the QX70, and they fly really bad on the QX70. These props that fly a bit vibey on here fly perfectly on the QX70. So it does. It flies lovely. This is the first brushless quad that I've had that's 1S, and the first one that I would genuinely say is like a decent inside flyer. I mean, it's perky for an inside flyer, but it's perfectly possible to fly it really mild as well. Now, when I was flying underneath the benches, it was fairly easy to do it, but I felt I didn't have the precision over height changes that I do on a brushed quad. Something like the QX95, which I fly around here, I can absolutely nail the height exactly to just drop a couple of mils or increase a couple of mils. This one didn't feel like it was quite so precise, but that might be just because I was going faster with it. Because this is definitely faster than a QX95. Now, I say it's faster than a QX95, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's got a lot more torque, but forward speed, it seems to really pick up fast. So I'm not quite sure exactly what the dynamic is there. Go for a double. So yeah, it flies really nice with these props, but I'm not convinced, and I need to find some of these motors without any slop in them really and run it against a 1S brush quad. But it's certainly the most capable inside brushless quad that I've flown so far, and I'll try and see if I can feed the antenna a little bit. I don't know what I can actually do with the antenna if it's sticking up there really. I can only really hide it between the plates and hope it's accessible from all angles. We'll give that a quick go. Normally tucking an antenna between the plates is a dumb idea. And that's my power.
Okay, let's start with the negatives. Basically, when I got this one, it didn't work. I was getting a board light when I plugged in the USB, but I wasn't getting a connection. Even if I plugged the power in, like it says you've got to have on this one for both of them, power and USB, just a board light. No COM port assigned, no bings in Windows, nothing. You understand this is a direct clone of a Pepperfish board, and I was just about to order one of those, get this thing in the air, and then I decided to reflow the board, and yep, it worked. So this one was giving me a connection after I reflowed. That main flight controller on the top there, just unsoldered that and gave it a bit of a reflow till all the solder points were molten, and we're working. Once it was working, as soon as I got it in the air, I had some pretty bad vibrations on this. In angle mode, it wouldn't stay level. It was just juddering around like that, yaw was sloppy, and it would lean off to the side and roll off, but it would sort of be a different side. Even if you were just slowly drifting to the left, sometimes it might go to the right or forwards. It was definitely the characteristics you get from vibrations, and you could see the thing was vibrating in the air. Pushing on the motors like that, you can see there's a fair amount of slop. Now if that was in a 2205 motor, it wouldn't be that pleasing to see. I'd probably want to swap it out. But on such a small motor with, let's say, 20,000 kV 0703 motors, that's crazy fast. So any slop or vibrations you've got in there are going to be, it's going to be an uphill struggle. Now, the day before I got this, I actually ordered some props for the QX70. Now, a couple of months ago, I think it was Frequent Flyer, put up a video. Yeah, put up a video flying his QX70 with some props off a UFO brushed toy. They were pretty much this profile, and he was getting 3.5, 4 minutes, a really decent pop on that. It was not bad at all. But the trouble with that was, nowhere has them in stock, or only one rotation in stock, so you couldn't actually get both directions of those props anywhere. He certainly couldn't provide a link, and I looked for a couple of evenings, couldn't find them, but discovered Racon had some. And as soon as I saw the Racon props that were the triblade props, I think they do them as an upgrade for the whoops. I saw some on the Banggood site. They were white ones, and because I was putting in an order, I ordered some of those anyway, and they completely sort out the QX70. I don't know if they're as good as the UFO props that Frequent Flyer was using, but I'd recommend them. You have to make sure your frame isn't slightly out of shape. My frame was a little bit squished, and they do catch a little bit, so you kind of have to give it a little squish till you've got a perfect circle out of the duct, and then they don't catch, but it is a very tight fit. The other thing that I noticed, when I fitted them to this, they were sitting too high. They weren't sitting just below, they were sitting just above this little barrier. And on the bottom, if you look side on to the prop like that, they had a little protrusion coming up that wouldn't allow them, on the centerpiece, that wouldn't allow them to sit perfectly down. Once you remove that, just with a pair of side clippers, they're exactly the same. That is the only difference to the prop apart from the material. But without clipping that little bit off, they were sitting too high and actually catching the frame. So as you can see from there, they're sitting really down as far as they can actually onto the motor bell. There's no space between the bottom of the prop and that. Once you get to that height, they're the same. So with some balance props and the board reflowed, the first flight on the video is what you saw. Still a few vibrations in there, but not to do with the props. The props are totally fine, tested on here. And I also put these props onto the QX70, and it was terrible. Right, bag of wobbles, really bad. I've marked the heavy blade so I can attempt to balance them, but I haven't bothered for the moment. And the other negative, range. The RC range on this did seem devastatingly short. I mean, it was kind of workable, but the places where I was losing it, you can be flying around 1 minute and then not the next. So I don't know whether it was the angle that I was at, but I actually got slightly better performance by putting the antenna in between the two plates. No idea. Figure that one out for yourself. But it was dropping out of the sky, and it definitely wasn't related to the voltage of the lipo dropping low, because I could do some, as you saw in the video, I could do some acro line of sight, really punch out 4 or 5 times on the trot, and it was fine. But 20 seconds prior to that, it would occasionally drop out. So I don't know whether I've got a poor range on mine. The antenna certainly isn't damaged. I mean, I could try swapping it out, or whether it's just a really short range receiver. Now, the things that I do like about it, the frame. At first, when I saw it and felt it, it actually flexes super easily, and I was like, it's not going to last at all. However, you're only going to really crash this one forwards, unless you're really picking up speed and you hit something inside on the frame there. It's generally going to hit front on, and it's really stiff. The stiffness that you get from straight on hits is more than good enough, a lot better than some of the bigger quads that I'm flying. It's quite surprising. So from the front, it's got a great strength, but it's torsionally not very stiff. So the type of crashes that this little lightweight bug's going to come into contact with, generally I don't think you can have any problems with the frame. So I really dig the frame. So in principle, I really do like this, but side-by-side comparisons to a 1S brushed quad, it's a lot faster. Going in a straight line, it just leaves a QX95 for dust. But power to weight ratio for flipping and recovering, it doesn't seem quite as good, even though it's lighter, almost half the weight of a QX95. It still doesn't feel quite as torquey, and I wouldn't really assign the word torque to a 1S brushed quad much either. So there's plenty to do what you need to do with it, even flip, but I'm not sure that I would personally choose this over a brushed quad for inside flying at the moment. I think it's a little bit expensive for the direct comparison performance you get on a brushed quad, but I do think it's very close. If they could sort out the vibrations on this and give it a decent RC range as normal micros have, a good couple of 100 meters, I think I could possibly fall in love with this one. But at the moment, not quite for me.